Maybe we'll go with Sager, please. Sager and Jetty. Thank you. Daily Caller.
Thank you, Mr. President. To follow up on what you were saying about the shutdown, sir, are you saying that you would be willing to shut the government down in September if it does not fully fund $25 billion worth of your border wall and also deliver all of the immigration priorities that you listed in your tweet? Or are you leaving some room for negotiation there?
I'll always leave room for negotiation, but this has been many years. This isn't just Trump administration. We're new. There's been many years, even decades. We have immigration laws, we have border security, we have all sorts of things going on that it's disgraceful. We are doing a phenomenal job. We're setting records, but we have laws that don't work. So we're working around those laws, and it's unfortunate. I have to take my hat off to the Border Patrols, for the law enforcement, to ICE, which really has been maligned by the Democrats, the job they do. They go into these MS-13 nests, nests of bad people, killers in many cases, and they go in there fearless, and they do an incredible job, and they get them out. They either go to jail or they get out of the country. So I want to just take my hat off to ICE and the brave people that have really been maligned by the Democrats. We need border security. Without a border, as this gentleman can tell you also, because the Prime Minister really was a very big factor in his win and other people's win in Italy. But it was a big factor in my win. We need border security. Border security includes the wall, but it includes many other things. We have to end the lottery. We have to end the chain. The chain is like a disaster. You bring one person in and you end up with 32 people. We have to end these horrible catch and release principles where you catch somebody, you take their name and you release them. You don't even know who they are. And then they're supposed to come back to a court case where they want us to hire thousands of judges. The whole thing is ridiculous. And we have to change our laws. And we do that through Congress. So I would certainly be willing to close it down, to get it done. As you know, we are already approving things in various bills, including we're going to be taking care of the military. We always put the military and law enforcement very high. But I would be certainly willing to consider a shutdown if we don't get proper border security. Thank you. Please.
Sir, just to follow up on that quickly, is the $25 billion a red line for you?
I have no red line, unlike President Obama. I just want great border security. Okay?
Yeah. Mr. Prime Minister, here in the United States, amongst our commentariat, there was a consensus that the President's appearance at the G7 and NATO damaged our relationship with those institutions. As a member of both of those institutions, what is your assessment of the President's appearance at both?
Sia il G7
both the G7 and NATO, we had a very fruitful exchange of views and opinions and of positions. I think that all the positions and stances which are expressed with clarity and provide a contribution also to review well-established positions are more than welcome. There is a fruitful exchange. We had a fruitful exchange both at the G7 summit and at NATO summit in different frameworks. We, for instance, in the framework of G7 summit, we agreed on the need for reforming the WTO, the system of the WTO. It's a year-old system which considered China as an emerging country. You can understand that applying those same rules after years with the privileges granted to an emerging country clearly means having a system which is not well-functioning and not well-rational. At NATO, there was also a clear stance taken by President Trump, which I personally share, fairly. He expressed a position and the need to rebalance the expenditure which is borne traditionally by the United States, which is very disproportionate. These are absolutely reasonable positions and stances, and I personally take them into great account, and I will be personally the carrier of the message, and I'll try and make the others understand these positions as well. We must negotiate with the United States to find the balance in the interest of Italian citizens, American citizens, and European citizens.
I want to thank you also. I just add to that, but I do want to thank you for what you just said, because it's been very unfair to the United States. We had a very good G7 meeting. That's where Giuseppe and I became friends. I think we were probably more closely aligned than anybody else in the room. But it was a great meeting. In every respect, I would say it was very good. And NATO in particular. I went to NATO, and NATO was essentially going out of business because people weren't paying, and it was going down, down, down. You just have to look at the line. I came along last year, and in a fairly nice tone, I said, you got to pay. And they paid $44 billion more. And this year I said it in a little bit stronger tone. And they're paying hundreds of billions of dollars more over the years. And NATO will be strong again. And if you speak to Secretary General Stoltenberg, I think he's the biggest fan of Trump, because he said we couldn't collect money until President Trump came along. And he said last year we collected $44 billion, and this year the money is pouring in. But it's like the Prime Minister said, we really talk about imbalance. We were treated very unfairly. The United States was treated very, very unfairly, because we're shouldering anywhere from 70 to 90% of the cost of NATO. That's not fair. It's not fair, especially when you take Germany, and Germany's paying 1%, a little more than 1%, and they're buying and paying tremendous amounts of money to Russia. So we're supposed to protect countries from Russia, but they're paying Russia billions and billions of dollars for the energy. Not good, not a good situation, and I let it be known. So the bottom line is the NATO countries are now paying a lot more money, and NATO's become a lot stronger because of it. And I appreciate your answer. Thank you. Please.